morning. Here with me today is Mr. Gerard Gallagher. Gerard was the former general manager of World Rugby. I know Gerard had a stint of over 10 years in Asia, when especially Asia was growing in rugby. You know, I remember Asia had barely 8 or 10 teams, and when with Gerard it grew up to over 25 teams. Gerard is no longer with World Rugby, but he's started a different venture. Gerard, tell us a little bit about what you did with World Rugby when you were with Africa.
I had a great experience in Asia. I love Asia. So for World Rugby was from 2002 through to 2013 as a full-time employee, as general manager Asia, and then now for 2 years now I've been a consultant to the World Rugby and also to a sports consultant, as well as starting up a new venture as well, which is education for student recruitment to Australia and New Zealand. And so it's been a fantastic life, and as you mentioned, when we first started there might have been a few federations, and Sri Lanka was one of them, of course, one of the founding members, but you know, 12, 15 years later there's over 25 people playing federations, and so it's been an incredible journey that I'd love to share with you today.
Gerard, about Sri Lanka Rugby, we've seen Sri Lanka Rugby, you have travelled, I think, except for North and East during that period you couldn't have travelled, but now of course there is no problem with travelling North and East. Everywhere is safe in Sri Lanka today. We have travelled down south, we have been to Kandy, we've been to Nuwara. What do you think of the development program that was driven in Sri Lanka before?
Yeah, well, I think I first came in 2003, and we worked together when you worked in Sri Lanka Rugby Union, and it was credible. You know, 30-odd development officers across the island, and I think the key thing was that with limited resources, it was working. And you know, as I mentioned today to another person, is that rugby, it's institutionalised in schools, but there's so much more. You know, and we were touching every young person that was playing rugby, that we'll get into them and take them through rugby. It was incredible to watch. And obviously you have the big fancy stuff, which is the schools rugby here and big crowds. But there was other places you'd go out and you see the kids making a difference in their lives. And so, yeah, I had a wonderful experience.
Gerard, if you take, that's Sri Lanka, if you take Asia, you know, the powerhouse is Japan. You know, Japan streets ahead, then Hong Kong is catching up now with Korea, and followed by Sri Lanka. What do you think of the countries like Malaysia, Thailand, who've been playing rugby for many years? What do you think, how do you think they could also, if they are to catch up and if they would be in the same league, what do you think they should be doing?
Yeah, it's really interesting that, you know, how do you gauge if you're successful in rugby? Is it your national team, or is your development program, or is people playing? And I suppose if we talk about national teams, you know, Sri Lanka has a real appetite to do well on the international circuit, and I suppose at the moment they haven't reached their goal, their own aspirations, and there may be a number of reasons for that. I think that first of all is that the translation or the transition from schools into adult rugby is a pathway that needs to be really identified. I think that has to be tapped into it, and therefore the flow-on effect is that when you get to the national level, you don't have the same pool of players to either draw upon. And unfortunately in Sri Lanka's history sometimes there's some disputes between clubs or nations, and therefore you can't get your best players. In a place like Sri Lanka, to be competitive in the international circuit, you need your best players. Sure. And so I suppose that's where they've been hindered in the past. I think they've got the passion, got the desire, got the ambition, but they've got to certainly match it with that pathway.
Yeah, quite true. You know, the boys have the ambition, the rugby administrators. Also, one other reason I think for the success of Sri Lanka rugby is, okay, we have the numbers. Schools rugby is really strong.
Yes.
The old boys networks are strong.
Yes.
You know, if we take the top tier schools, they're supported by the old boys. You know, budgets are in the region of 30-40 million, I would say. And another good thing what is happening in Sri Lanka is the support by the sponsors. You know, the people, the companies who come forward to sponsor. If you take the international top companies or the local companies, you know, we have Mobitel, Sri Lanka Telecom supporting, then we have Dialogue, we have HSBC supporting, we have Singer Sri Lanka been supporting schools rugby for many years. We had Caltex lubricants, and we had we got now Dialogue League running, you know, so like that. we've got number of top companies. SHGT who has come on board recently.
Yes.
So top company. I think also you need the funding, you need support like that. At the same time, when you have funding, you need to deliver. You need to have. You can't just go and play the fool. So I think. What do you think, Gerard? In other countries or at AFU, I know there was sponsorship, there was a tournament, but it's not there now. If rugby is to move forward with the modern technology and also with the latest development, do you think what sort of sponsorships and do you need the sponsors are a must?
Yes, I think the sponsors are looking for a nice platform that they can trust and support. They want to be able to make inroads. They want to be able to get value for their money. And I suppose the challenge for Sri Lanka and for Sri Lankan rugby is to be able to build that platform. They've got to have a good, solid base that sponsors can really get involved. And that starts with the union. And so I think that's the challenge for the union now. Sri Lankan Rugby Union is that they can have a good foundation and to take it. Otherwise, it becomes very difficult. It's very difficult to sell something. It's very difficult to show a pathway through and show the benefits. I think it's a real challenge at the moment is to be able to satisfy, and I think there's a hunger out there for sponsors. You mentioned some wonderful ones that I've met over the years, and there's a hunger for them to support programs, but there really needs to be a real good foundation, a platform that you can launch from. I think that's a bit of a struggle here.
But what they expect is when they put in money, of course there is returns. So if that expectation is not done, then of course so with schools rugby, I think what they expect is numbers at the pitch. I mean, you'll see today at the Royal Isipatana game, tickets are sold out within number of hours.
Nice.
The last thing is, okay, now we have the school structure really good with 30-40 schools playing rugby, but clubs, if you take, we still have the same old 8 numbers playing rugby in Sri Lanka. So union has to do something to increase numbers, but again the funding is one of the main problems, I guess. So now the school rugby, what is happening is players do play. After that we lose so many numbers, so many players to the sport, rugby football. They play good rugby, and as a result of few clubs in playing top division rugby, they don't want to play B division. So now we have come up with a program of introducing rugby players to go and study overseas. While playing rugby, they could learn whatever the career that they want to pursue in future. So can you elaborate about that?
Yeah, sure. I really think that there's a transition pathway from schools rugby to adult rugby would be a real benefit to Sri Lanka, both in terms of club rugby and the national team. And I really wanted to think, what can I do? My experience, I've come up with this. And so this program that I want to do is nothing new, but it's a matter of tailoring it is the key point. So tailoring it is that let's continue education. That's the first one. Education is key. Come study in New Zealand or Australia. Let's talk about New Zealand at the moment. Study in New Zealand. And then at the same time, in an environment like New Zealand, let's build a program individual program around that player. So it could be a pathway program, for example, under 21s or under 20s, which is Colts rugby in New Zealand. In a season that will run 20 matches, plus a pre-season, which is about 6 weeks, plus an off-season. So we're going to hopefully bring the players in at the pre-season time, and where they come before the start of the year. Obviously, it would be nice if they're here for the off-season, but pre-season, lead into the season, which is 20 matches, which is already 6 months, maybe five months, then you have the finals. So, and then they'll be ready. And so by the time they've got a nice education, the first year out of the way, they've had a good season, then they should come back. And I'm absolutely 100% positive that there'll be an improvement there that they wouldn't have get. The first improvement is we've retained them in rugby. That's the first thing. Second thing is they've played in an environment that's been tailored to help them individually, and they're going to come back and be a great asset to the country.
Yeah, I'm 100% agreeing with what Gerard is saying, because we have had superstars who Sri Lanka produced number of top quality players, but 2 of them who are outstanding was Priyantha Ekanayak. I think Priyantha had 6 months period in New Zealand. He played rugby in New Zealand, came back and captained Sri Lanka for I think 3 or 4 years. It's a record. Then we also had Dushan Leuke, had 1 or 2 months in Taranaki in New Zealand, who is now today a trainer for Royal College, who played great rugby, captain Sri Lanka. I think the future should be for them to go out, get the exposure, and then come back and represent a club or play for your national team. I think that would be great. Also, Gerard, if the rugby's move forward, okay, we need the stakeholders like the sponsors. We need support from media to highlight, the names of the players, the returns to sponsors, and so we have got all that. We what was lacking was exposure for them to go and study overseas or play, and also it was lacking. Like, we didn't have international brands. We only had local brands. If you take the balls or anything, so we have today. We have. If you take Rhino Rugby's in Sri Lanka with their equipment, who's also the supplier to the Rugby World Cup this year, we've got the Canterbury official kit supplier for the Rugby World Cup, who's doing basically, supporting schools like Trinity Royal, Dispathana and Candice Sports Club. We've also got the Gilbert, top branded balls in Sri Lanka, so like that, So I think with all these ingredients, I'm sure Sri Lanka Rugby, with the program that you are hoping to introduce, boys going and playing in New Zealand and coming back and representing, I'm sure the aim of Sri Lanka Rugby is to be close to Japan and Hong Kong. I'm sure with this type of thing, we can help Sri Lanka Rugby, the Rugby Union, with the new administration which is coming in, with the schools, support of schools rugby. I'm sure we can try and reach there, which have been the dream of Sri Lanka Rugby for 130 years. We have history of over 130 years. We've been far behind, but now we are at least, third, fourth, fifth place in the region, 7th and 15th. I'm sure with this type of thing, with the international brands coming in, I'm sure we should be able to be with number 1, 2 in Asia. That's our dream.
Yeah, I think it's, and I mentioned today that to other people that it's going to take time. And I was just talking about the academy today, the Goal Academy. I was here when it first kicked off years ago. Now there's people coming through. So it takes time, and you've got to give them opportunity to develop. And programs like what we're talking about here, and studying back in New Zealand, and a progressive program. It is an investment from all parties, and for me, I want to first of all show that if you put some time and effort into these people, like the academy does, results will come. And I think that's why we're going to do it. It's long-term, medium-term goals that lead on to long-term things. So.
Well, what you said
no
is
pressure,
true,
no pressure, Dylan. No pressure.
The academy which we started, Goal Academy, 11 years ago. Today we see results. We have over 35 kids who are playing first 15 rugby this year through a Goal Academy who started 8, 10-year-old kids. Now today, Dispathana was a Royal game. I'm proud to say we have 12 players who started as little kids at the academy who are playing for Royal and Dispathana today, which we all could be proud and happy about.
Yeah, absolutely.
As you said, it's a process, it takes time.
Exactly right.
It will reach there.
And so I think the target for me now is that just that gap after schools to adult rugby, give them that gap.
Which have been lacking.
Yeah, correct.
We've been losing players there. When they can't do anything, they just give up playing rugby.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Gerard.
Thank you.